Hey guys, so we have this 5 horsepower chipper shredder that I'm going to service and repair, find out why it's not working, and we'll go from there. I'll bring you along. I don't know much about it. All I know is that it was bound up when I got it, and since then we were able to take out that bit of debris that was locking it up. Apart from that, I don't really, in fact I haven't even checked the oil, which is probably a good start. Very, very, very low. Next to nothing in there. I might just top that up because I don't want to be running it with that much oil in there. So that's the first port of call. Just about enough in there. I know it's safe. That's better. Alright, next thing we'll check is the fuel. I've already pulled out, there was a big sponge in here and I've already pulled that out. Ideally what I'd like to do is to be able to tilt this over, but the machine's so heavy. I've got a little pipette here. No sign of any water. There's a lot of debris in there and it is yellow. I don't know why they've got the divider. Is that some sort of anti-splashback thing? I'm not sure. But having a look in there, yeah, it does need a clean out, to be honest. It really does. Let's just get this air filter cover off. We can have a bit of a look, see what the linkages are like. I need to get a bolt for that, I know. So, pre-filter. Fine. That's a bit dusty. Two, three, four. So we've got choke, throttle, governor linkage, off, and we've got kill wire, and part of the gasket is still holding us on, but that's nothing, there we go, to worry about. So that's coming off, and then our little kill wire, which we're going to have to clean off, is there, which is very corroded anyway. Briggs is really well known for this star carb setup. That's a bit of a nuisance to get to. Anyway, it looks like it's coming. There we go. So that comes off. So then down here, I've already taken that bolt off down the bottom. There's a little clip. So we need to disconnect that and then disconnect the other linkage, and then that is job done. We are free. Might be easier to actually tilt the tank and go, yeah, there we go, that way. A little linkage on the back here, which we're going to disconnect. There we go. And now we should be able to get everything apart. Oh, there it is. That looks all blocked up, doesn't it? It's got a whole bunch of dirt and gunk at the end of that. I'll bring you in for a closer look. Let's have a look at look at all those bits that are all in there. I think a good slosh out is what it needs, and it should be all right. You know, really, before I do any sort of sloshing out, I want to get some Scotch-Brite in there and clean that debris out, because otherwise that's only going to end up back inside the tank, isn't it? I've got a wire as well, that might help. So for those of you that don't know, you've got a main tank, and then you've got what's essentially a float bowl or a cart. Yeah, I suppose technically it's not a float bowl, but it's an extra bowl that acts as the fuel chamber, and it constantly keeps getting pumped with fuel, and then it will drain out when it's at the right height, and it will go back in that circular motion. So it's a simple design. What we can get initially. It's probably just vinyl-sized fuel, old fuel. Of course there's a bit of rust in there as well, but I'm gonna give it a blowout. It looks pretty darn good. You can't be unhappy with that. Just a few light rust spots, but everything's been scrubbed out with some petrol, so I would say that'll be absolutely fine. I can't see that being an issue. Give it a bit in there as well. lot of junk in there. You know what I think I'm going to do? We'll have a quick look at this diaphragm, which I know is going to be as hard as anything. However, so I think I'm going to clean off the outside as best I can, and then it's going to get a treatment in the ultrasonic cleaner. This plastic tube feels very brittle, and Kenny mentioned, my friend from Ken's Small Engine, go check him out. He mentioned that you can warm this up and remove it. I might just try and see if I can clean it out first. There should be a jet here. There's a jet there, and I thought there was another one. Is it just a single jet carb on this? Can't quite remember. I don't do them that often. But let's have a quick look at the fuel pump. The fuel pump's under here. Let's get that out and just see what we're working with. Sorry. There should be a cap and a spring. Cap and a spring. You can hear it already. Yeah, that's not going to pump anything. So we need a new fuel pump diaphragm and also a carburetor base gasket for the connection to the fuel tank. Let's go see what we can get hold of. All right, just got back from the shop, got my goodies. So we have carb gasket and fuel pump diaphragm. So I've got that little tube that comes out. And then 1 and 2. Just see. There we go. It came off in one piece, nothing torn or damaged. So let's get on with setting these valves. Move this to one side. What we need to do is get the engine to top dead center. Now on a 4-stroke, there's 2 top dead centers. There's one between the compression stroke and the power stroke, and there's another top dead center between the exhaust stroke and the intake stroke. We need it between the compression and the power stroke. That is ensuring that the valves are both closed. So let's pull it over a couple of times and we'll just see whereabouts we are. We're going to have a look here and here. That was the exhaust, that's the intake. Where are we now? I'm going to keep an eye on this piston. So it's going probably on its way down. Now it's up. That is the piston at top dead center. I'm looking through the spark plug hole. You can't see, but where are you? Yeah, of course you can't see. I'm up here. And the piston's at top dead center after the intake stroke, but before the exhaust. And that's exactly what we want. Now, I've written it on my hand because each of these are slightly different. The intake needs to be between 0.12 to 0.18 millimeters. So let's start with 0.12 and let's see if we've got any clearance whatsoever. Lovely, nice clearance there. And 0.18, yeah, 0.18 won't fit. So we're bang on there, that's absolutely fine. We're within tolerance. Let's do 0.15 and see. 0.15? Yeah, that's exactly where we are, 0.15. That's perfect. It's almost like someone's done it already. Now the exhaust is between 0.23 millimeters and 0.28 millimeters. So let's start with 0.23. Lots of clearance there. And let's do 0.28. And that doesn't fit. Oh, it does. With light drag. There we go. Yes! Hopefully I won't have to take the cylinder head off to do anything now, so that saves the head gasket, but that's great. So I've got very light drag on 0.28, absolutely fine. I believe someone's probably been in here. But then again, chippers don't actually get used that much generally, so it's not like a lawnmower that's running every week, you know. So that's good, we can put the valve cover back on. One thing to note, guys, if you're doing valve covers on these older Briggs, inspect them closely and note where the little notches are down here. They are actually the oil return. So just be careful you don't go the other way up, because otherwise the oil won't be able to return. So that is the correct orientation with the little notches facing down. All right, in goes the carb. 20. Temperature, we're going to 70. Actually, what is the maximum temperature? Yeah, I don't like to go right up to max. Right, that's good. Now let's watch it. We're going to zip this off. We're going to have a quick look at the blades. They see if they're there to start with, and then maybe we'll sharpen them as well. So let's zip these off. That off. And now in here, Let's disconnect the spark plug, even though it shouldn't go. We have, there it is, that's one blade. Doesn't feel sharp, but, and then there's the second one. That's it. Now, is that Allen key spinning? That's the question. Nope. Then I can change it just slightly if I need a bit more. There. That's it. Oh. There we go. That's out. Then we've got a little spring washer, and then the bolt. Let's do the same on the other one. Job done. Doesn't look too. I mean, it's chipped up. It's gonna do with a sharpen, but it doesn't look too bad. Not horrendous. That's good. So here are the blades. They've been sharpened. Both had burrs raised all the way up along the back, which means that we've apexed the bevels. Beautiful. Same on here. A nice big fat burr all the way on the back. You can even just leave that there. It's not going to be an issue. It will break away when it's in use. The only issue is there is a chip out of this part of the blade here. You can see, so that's not that sharp. It is a little bit. I can feel a bit of a burr on the back. It's not worth wasting material to get that. So they're fine. They're all ready to go, and we'll dry those off, put those back together. Right, let's get them back on. Pop the blade in. I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite, just for peace of mind. So now we need to get onto this side, and instead of taking all these little bolts off and that, I think I'm just going to zip all of those off around the outside, take this whole unit off in one if that's even possible, and that'll give me access to hopefully a blade and then the flails. And we'll just inspect the flails. If they need to be cleaned up, we can do that, and the blade can be sharpened and balanced as well. So there we go. Now this should literally be disconnected, which it is. So we have flail number 1, which is fine. That Loctite. Flail number 2, which is fine. It's missing its cover. Flail number 3, again missing its cover. Not very good, but fine. And then flail number 4, pin is nearly out. These are held in with a roll pin. So I'm going to get a hammer. There should be, which is not there anymore, a cover, and that holds everything together. So to get these out, tap the pin out and you pull this off. There should be a little cover that clips over that to hold the pin in. All of those are missing. But anyway, it's holding on, and that's fine. Not ideal, but anyway. Right, so we have a blade here, which we're going to sharpen. Leave the flails, none of them. So I'm just checking to see if any of them are broken, to see if any of the edges are all rounded over or damaged, and they're not. They're absolutely fine. Make sure the pins are in place, and that there's no cracks or anything in this whole unit here. And there's not, so I think we're fine. I've yet to have a bolt that this impact can't take off. I love it. Yeah, it's chewed up a bit. Not terrible, but let's give it a quick sharpen. This time I'm probably... No, I'll do it on the belt again. Do it on the belt. You've already seen it once, so I won't show you again. All right, well, the blade's all done. Just took enough off to clean it up. And always make sure whenever you're sharpening something, the aim is to raise a burr. So if you've got a burr on the back, a rough wire edge all the way along, you're good. Don't go any further. Just go light to start with, because we need to make sure that the bolt holes line up for either side. And these are going to get some Loctite too. on. Same on the other side. There we go, one more little zip up. And that is job done. Doesn't feel very high. Oh, there we go. I was about to say, it doesn't feel very high compression. All right, we're good. This has been stopped for about an hour now. Been busy. Still smoking hot in there. And there's a lot of debris, but nothing too crazy. Just take a quick look at the end of this needle. It's very rough, and it's got a little bit of corrosion on it. So I'm going to take a bit of Scotch-Brite and just gently clean off any of that dirt, and that's just going to ensure it seals properly, and I'll inspect the drilling in which this goes into. And now you can see much cleaner. So that's what we want to do. It's the small things that make the big difference in the long run. So there we go. Now, although the drilling is clear in there, in terms of it did shoot fluid through, I'm just going to take a nylon brush and just, you see it goes in there, I'm just going to go back and forth and dislodge any possible small amounts of aluminium oxide in there. Just helps clean it out, but it looks really clean to me. Goes in there. A little cover, stops it cutting into the diaphragm, our new diaphragm. There. Goes on top. Snug. And that hole's been cleaned, that channel. Take my long steel screwdriver. See if you can get hold of one of these. They're longer than the standard steel screwdrivers. I think they come with the cut-off saws. So just pop to your local steel shop and see if they've got one, because they're really nice and handy, especially for tuning. 1/2, 3/4. Because you can get into areas, especially on the Huskies, where the recoil, pull handle and recoil is on the same side as the adjustment screws. Yeah, that's really annoying. So I think a long one does help. So I'm just getting it all put back together. It's really hard for you to see when I'm kind of right in front of it and trying to see what's going on myself. So I'm going to explain what goes back where. One linkage, this long linkage here, on the outside, comes up, goes onto this plastic part here. That's part of your throttle. And then we have the other side here, which goes to that spring down the bottom, and that spring is the one that connects onto that little bit there, connects onto that, can you see? That there. So I'll get that put back together. We need full throttle, full choke. Nearly. Fast choke. Give it a little bit of a drink. What it needs to do is it needs to suck up the fuel to fill up the bowl, because unless you've got a full tank, it's trying to fill it up. That's what I reckon's happening. That should get it going. This should help pump some fuel. There we go. We just needed to fill up the little bowl that we cleaned out inside here. Now it's full. She's running beautifully. Like a Swiss watch. There we go, guys. 5 horsepower MTD chipper shredder. Serviced, blades sharpened, everything sorted out. New carb kit, carbs cleaned, valves checked, they're fine. So yeah, can't complain at that. Have a great one, guys. Catch you soon.